A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant escalation of tensions, Health Secretary Wes Streeting has abruptly ended negotiations with pharmaceutical companies over NHS drug pricing, following the rejection of the government's latest offer. The breakdown in talks comes after weeks of discussions aimed at reforming the voluntary scheme for branded medicines pricing, access, and growth, VPAG, which has become a contentious issue between the government and the pharmaceutical industry. At the heart of the dispute is the mechanism that allows the NHS to recoup some of the costs associated with medicines, a process that the drug companies now deem unsustainable. According to industry leaders, the current arrangement could ultimately disadvantage patients, as pharmaceutical firms are struggling to cope with the financial implications of the scheme. The VPAG was initially established to provide predictability in the NHS's overall healthcare expenditure. However, since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the rebates that drug companies are required to pay back have skyrocketed, leading to frustrations within the industry. What was once a single-digit percentage cost has ballooned to an effective tax rate of 23%. This escalating cost burden has prompted calls for reform from the pharmaceutical sector, which argues that the current system is stifling investment and innovation in the UK. Streeting's ultimatum earlier this week demanded that the industry either vote on the proposed changes or abandon negotiations altogether. The government's offer was described as unprecedented, with promises to increase net spending on medicines by approximately £1 billion over the next 3 years, with expectations of billions more over the next decade. However, the Association of the British Pharmaceutical Industry, ABPI, has expressed reluctance to bring these proposals to a vote, leading to the current stalemate. A government spokesperson expressed disappointment over the ABPI's unwillingness to engage, stating, "This was an unprecedented offer which would increase net spending on medicines." The continuation of the existing scheme, which is set to run until 2028, raises concerns about the future of the UK pharmaceutical industry and its ability to compete on the global stage. Industry insiders are voicing their apprehensions about the potential decline in the UK's attractiveness as a destination for pharmaceutical investment. Richard Torbett, chief executive of the ABPI, warned that without meaningful change, the UK would continue to fall in international rankings for research, investment, and patient access to medicines. Johan Karlström, UK Managing Director at Novartis, echoed this sentiment, emphasizing that if the UK aims to be a leading hub for life sciences by 2035, reforms need to be implemented immediately. The fallout from the negotiations has already led to major healthcare companies halting or canceling investment projects in the UK. GSK recently shut down a drugs plant in Cumbria, while Pfizer closed a facility in Sandwich, resulting in a loss of 500 jobs. Additionally, AstraZeneca has scrapped plans for a £450 million investment in Liverpool, focusing its resources instead on projects in the United States. This ongoing standoff occurs against the backdrop of Donald Trump's recent pressure on drug makers to increase prices abroad to subsidize lower costs for American patients. In a letter to the heads of 17 pharmaceutical companies, Trump urged them to negotiate harder with foreign nations and repatriate increased revenues to lower drug prices domestically. As the UK government maintains its position on the existing VPAG scheme, the implications for patients, the NHS, and the pharmaceutical industry remain uncertain. The Health Secretary's decision to walk away from negotiations has raised questions about the future direction of the UK's healthcare landscape and its commitment to fostering a thriving life sciences sector. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.